Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Kate Hamilton Health Podcast. So, in today's episode, I'm not interviewing anybody. You are stuck with just me. This is going to be a little solo episode. I know I've said this before and it didn't happen, but I mean it this time. There are going to be more solo episodes sprinkled in to the podcast schedule in between the interviews, just so that you get a little bit more, I suppose, of my coaching, of my methods, and of my thoughts when it comes to health, fitness, and connection with self. So, in today's episode, I am going to talk through healthy lifestyle in general, what I believe is holding us back from it, and I'm going to talk you through the Kate Hamilton Health coaching curriculum that I use with my clients and what I base all of my content, all of my beliefs, all of my own actions, all of my everything, my whole world is based around this. So I'm going to share it with you. Apologies if I've shared this already, by the way. I talk so much on so many different platforms that I actually forget sometimes what I've talked about, where I've talked about it. So you just might need to get used to me repeating myself every now and again. But anyway, when it comes to health and fitness, when it comes to weight loss, you hear so much talk all the time of the obesity epidemic. And you hear numbers and figures and statistics. And then all I think that this brings, and I understand, people have jobs to do in relation to this. There's a lot of research being done. Doctors are doing everything they can. But I just think this constant narrative in the media of the obesity epidemic brings extreme shame and disempowerment to a lot of people. And I am not saying that there is no such thing as obesity. That is not at all what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is for a lot of people, they're unnecessarily feeling disempowered and that they can't do anything about their situation because of obesity being classified as an illness. I feel like it takes the power away from them. And although there may be exceptions there, I think for most of us, we are dealing with a lifestyle epidemic. And that is what I base everything around. So obviously, I am not a doctor. I am a personal trainer. I'm a nutrition coach. I'm a health coach. I don't work with people in a medical basis or with medical conditions. I'm talking very much in a general sense of things. But for most of us, we are dealing with a lifestyle epidemic. I think it's a deep issue within our society that goes so much deeper than just food and exercise. I've seen it time and time again with all the different clients that I work with. I have lived it myself. We're talking busy careers, mortgages, rent to pay, children to raise, elderly parents to care for. Life just keeps getting faster and more complicated the older we get. And it doesn't get any easier. I just want to say here, we are not stupid. We are not lazy just because we find it difficult to lose weight or because we're gaining weight. We're human. And with all of these added pressures, it becomes really, really difficult to be able to prioritize ourselves in this manic world. There literally is only so much that we can manage. So, in my opinion, we've got to strip it right back. It's not actually about putting more into an already hectic lifestyle. It's actually about doing a lot of undoing, and a lot of unlearning needs to happen. How can we actually expect to add a diet and more exercise on top of an already overwhelming lifestyle that has led us to where we are today? So when we try and add all this extra things in, of course we're going to fail. There's nothing wrong with you if you've tried every diet under the sun, if you've stopped and started, tried and failed so many times. Of course that's going to make you feel like a failure, but it isn't your fault. It's no wonder we feel so disempowered. But what we have to do is we have to look at our whole lifestyles and we have to start deconstructing them and building them in a much simpler way. And that's not an easy task. And I think sometimes people don't want to hear that message that, Kate, I just want to lose 2 stone. And that's great. You can go somewhere and get put on, meal replacement shakes or whatever. You'll lose the 2 stone. You won't be able to keep it off. You're going to be in that same vicious cycle over and over again unless you get to the root of the problem. What a lot of diets do is they treat the symptoms. So it's like, when you're gaining weight, you find a way to bring your weight back down, but you can't keep it down and it keeps going back. And that's where yo-yo dieting happens, because you're not actually dealing with the core issue that's causing the weight gain. you're dealing with the weight gain. So you're dealing with the symptom rather than the cause of the symptom. And we have got to look at the cause of the symptom, not only just for our own like weight loss, if we're talking about weight loss, but for our own physical health and our own mental health and our own happiness. Because at the end of the day, no matter what goal you set for yourself, I bet my life on it that in that goal somewhere, there's happiness involved in it, because everybody wants to be happy. I think we need to really just slow down and be like, okay, this is a long journey, but this is going to be the most empowering, most worthwhile journey that I'm ever going to do, because it's going to change everything for me. And it's going to do it in the most empowering, the most exciting, and the most worthwhile way. So I want to ask you this, okay? When was the last time you asked yourself these questions? Who am I? What do I enjoy? What do I actually want? Why do I want to get healthier? And why haven't I achieved this yet? Rewind there, write down those questions, put pen to paper, pause this podcast now, put pen to paper and answer those questions into a journal. If you don't have time, if you're driving or walking or whatever right now, put it in your schedule to prioritize asking yourself those questions. Because I bet a lot of you have never asked yourself those questions, or you haven't since you were very young. And the reason why most of us have never actually asked ourselves this question is because we've never had time. We've never had time to ask ourselves these questions. So this is your starting point. Until you answer those 5 questions: who am I? What do I enjoy? What do I actually want? Why do I want to get healthier? Why haven't I achieved them yet? When you answer those 5 questions, like, that has to be your starting point. And this is where the Kate Hamilton Health Curriculum starts, which I'm going to go through with you now. Okay, so the Kate Hamilton Health Coaching Curriculum is built around the idea that health, fitness, and fat loss are simple. It's not easy, but it is simple. It's simple habits repeated over time, imperfectly. So it's not about being perfect, while constantly reflecting and learning. So even that journaling exercise that I just gave you, that kind of thing, learning to be curious about your habits, be curious every time you fall down, know that it's not about being perfect, know that you're going to make mistakes, be okay with that, dust yourself off, pick yourself up and ask yourself why that happened and what did you need in that moment, and really start connecting. That connection with self is everything into why things have happened for you that way, in a non-judgmental way, in a curious way, so that next time it occurs, you might be able to take one little baby step in the right direction, okay? And what I'm going to do now is take you through these simple habits, the 11 steps of the Kate Hamilton Health Curriculum. Giving away my deepest, darkest secrets. It's like the ingredients of Coca-Cola here or something. Anyway, I think it's important that you know this. So step 1 is the idea of eliminate, delegate, and automate. So this is in relation to your time. So the very first thing after you've asked yourself those questions is to deconstruct your routine. Make a list of everything you do in a regular week, like everything from bringing the kids to school, work meetings, getting your nails done, cooking dinner, doing homework, everything that has to go in there. List it all out, okay? Then what you need to do is you have to start categorizing the things that you need to do. You need to eliminate, delegate, and automate. So you need to get a big marker or pen and you need to eliminate anything that you don't have to do and you don't want to do. So this could be something, where you're meeting someone for a coffee that you don't really like, but you kind of do it to keep up appearances or to, things like that. Gone. Helping a friend of a friend with something that really isn't your responsibility, that you really don't have time for, and it's putting everything else, all your other stuff in the priority list, under pressure. That's got to go as well. So you have to be kind of ruthless with these things. This could actually be even in the form of overtime. So do you really need the overtime? I know you might want it for the extra bit of money, but is it worth it at the cost of your health or your mental health or your sleep? Or, so you have to look at that as well. Is it maybe this month I skip the overtime because I actually need to not run myself into the ground? Little things like that to look at. Another thing is scrolling after a certain time in the evening, or, too much Netflix or TV. And I'm not saying that you can't scroll on social media. I'm not saying that you can't watch TV, but putting clear boundaries around it and eliminating it after a certain time in the evening or before a certain time in the morning is going to make a huge difference. This is all about creating space in your routine for your new habits. Okay, so that's really important. Then delegating. What in your routine needs to be done, but doesn't need to be done by you. So this is where it comes down to things like your housework, your grocery shopping, even childcare to a certain degree. So if you are literally trying to do absolutely everything at home, like I've discovered my children are well capable of emptying the dishwasher, of wiping the counters, of doing a little bit of work. My husband can boil a pot of pasta. I can delegate the jobs in the house. There's also the option, if you have the money there, of outsourcing. So, getting a cleaner in once a week or once a fortnight to help with the bigger stuff, to take the pressure off time wise with the housework. With grocery shopping, like I found doing it online has saved me 2 hours every single week and absolutely worth it. So, making little changes like that when it comes to childcare, if you need to hire someone to babysit or mind your kids for a few hours a day or a few hours a week, to get some work done or to clear some space for you to go. There's nothing wrong with hiring a babysitter so you can go to the gym. If you have the money there to do that, do it. Prioritize you. Don't feel guilty. It's important. If you've got family or friends around that are willing to help, like I'm literally the definition of it takes a village. I have 3 kids. My whole family and my husband's whole family have helped raise them. And I just pay it forward. My sister has started having kids now. So I'm like, I'll take my niece and my nephew to be whenever needed. You can help each other out. So don't be afraid to ask for help when it comes to childcare, tasks, things that you can't manage all by yourself. And if you have a partner, talk to your partner about this if you feel it's a little bit imbalanced and unfair. And then automate. So automate is the things in your routine that you can't give to someone else to do and you can't eliminate. And these things need to be automated into a routine. You need to be organized with this. So organization is not something you are or aren't. It is a skill that everyone can build. Okay. So it's really, really important to put the time into getting a routine going. So your automate stuff is everything from bringing the kids to school, going to work, the meetings, the appointments that you have in the week. You need to sit down every weekend and look at the week ahead and be like, what's happening, what days, who, when, what. This is where you're going to put in your meal planning as well. It's where you're going to put in where you're getting your walk in, where you're getting your workouts in. All the things that you want to put in for you need to go into that automate section. So this is taking time once a week to look forward into the week, plan where and when everything is happening. This is where you can put in your grocery shopping as well and have the right food in the house, plan out what dinners are each day and make sure you're not doing a mental dinner that takes 2 hours to cook on a day when you're stuck for time. Keep it quick and easy and simple on days when you need it quick and easy and simple and when you have more time and more laid back. And if you enjoy cooking and you like being creative, do that on those days. But that takes a little bit of forward thinking. The whole idea of eliminate, delegate, and automate is that we have a finite amount of time in our week. I hate the saying, make more time for yourself. There is no more time. And the older we get, the more responsibilities we have. So unless we create the space in our week, and creating the space doesn't happen like when we click our fingers. It happens by eliminating some stuff from your routine, delegating other stuff from your routine, and automating the stuff that has to be done into a routine with the stuff that you want to add in. That's how it's done. So I hope that makes sense. Anyway, so that is step 1 of the Kate Hamilton Health Coaching Curriculum. It's got to be done. Step 2 then is daily reflection. You need a journal and you need to commit to reflecting daily. This is non-negotiable. You will not change your habits unless you're aware of them. This is not a huge task, but it is giving yourself 5 minutes before you go to sleep every night where you sit down with a pen, put pen to paper. What did you do today? What did you not do today? What went well? What didn't go well? Why? It's not writing an essay. Some days you might literally only be able for like 3 words, and that's okay. But it's in the routine of taking time to sit back and be like, take an exhale and just be like, oh, what happened today? Good or bad? And in a non-judgmental way. But what you'll do is you'll start to understand your habits. You'll start to understand your emotions, and all emotions come from thought patterns. You'll start to understand your thought patterns. And when you understand them, then you'll be able to start to change them. So that is step 2. Step 3 is your why and your goals. So this is a little bit like the questions that I told you at the start. Why? So let's just take weight loss as an example, if that's a goal at the minute. Why do you want to lose weight? I've done a whole podcast on this. I'm not going to go into this too much. Scroll back, find it. Establishing a clear why, it's extremely important. And set some goals. If you don't know where you're going and why you're going there, you won't keep it up. You can't, like, if you have a set goal, then you'll be able to break it down into actionable steps. And you don't need to have the whole path figured out, but you need to know where you're going. You need to know why you're doing it, because even having a goal isn't strong enough on the days where you really just don't fucking feel like doing it. Your why will get you to do the things when you don't feel like it. So, for example, I get up in the morning about 5:30, and I don't do it to torture myself, believe it or not. I do it because I quite enjoy that little bit of time by myself before the kids get up from school. I light a little incense, I do a little breath work, I do a little meditation. Literally just 20 minutes I spend on breath work and meditation. And then I get a little bit of my creative work done first thing in the morning. And then I have a little coffee about 7 a.m. I relax and I'm calm and I'm organized, and I've started my workday, because then my workday is very different to a structured workday. Then I go off and I bring my kids to school and I go to the gym and I do any other bits that need to be done. Then I come back to my desk kind of by lunchtime. So my why for getting up at that time, it's not hard to get up really. I'll wake up at first and sometimes I'll press snooze once, but then I will get up because my why is strong. I enjoy that alone time. I'm getting myself up to have that time and connection with me. And I'm getting up because I want to feel that bit organized and ahead of myself for the day. So I'm not stressed for the rest of the day. That is my strong why for that action. So if you need to get up early to go to the gym, your why for going to the gym needs to be strong enough to get you up. My why for leading a healthy lifestyle is very much setting an example for my kids, walking the walk that I talk to others about. So I'm not someone who's just preaching stuff and not living it. And I do want to have the most amazing adventures in my life. And I want to be fit, healthy and strong as I get older to be able to experience life to the full. And that is enough for me. I'm like, yeah, I'm there. Okay, I'm doing what needs to be done, and I love every minute of it, and I feel amazing for it. So that is your why and your goals. Step 4, food quality. So this I put ahead of the tracking of food. There is no point in trying to lose weight and talk about supplements and exercise and this, that, and the other if your diet is full of shit. Okay, and I'm not at all about demonizing food. I think we should have a bit of everything we enjoy. But most of our diet needs to be from good quality, healthy, whole foods and minimally processed foods. So you need to be having 3 meals a day. Each meal needs to have a decent protein source, some healthy fats, and a decent amount of carbohydrates for energy. You need to have plenty of vegetables. So what I say to my clients is vegetables with 2 meals. I'm not a huge vegetable for breakfast kind of person. So plenty of vegetables with lunch and dinner, and fruit with your breakfast. But you have to have the protein, carbs, and fats in each meal. You have to have the 3 meals a day. And then there's no problem with having a little Kit Kat with your coffee. There's no problem with having, a Freddo with your cup of tea, a packet of popcorn, watching a movie with the kids. You've got that balance in place. And it'll actually, when it comes on to step number 5, which I'll talk about now, is tracking your food. Tracking your food is so, so, so much easier if you're eating good quality food. Because obviously good quality food is nutrient dense. It's going to fill you for longer. It's going to stabilize your blood sugar levels, and you're not going to experience cravings in the same way because your whole diet isn't based around processed foods. So with tracking your food, I was kind of planning a little reel on this today, and made me think about, tracking calories seems to have a really bad rep in some contexts. And I don't know why, because when you think about it, most of us have some sort of fitness watch, some sort of smartwatch. We track our resting heart rate, we track our sleep, we track our steps, we track how much water we're drinking. We're conscious. We track whether we've had breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We track our blood pressure when we go to the doctor. Everything is measured. We measure things in life. It's how we measure progress, I suppose. And in relation to food, it's seen as this kind of obsessive, restrictive way of looking at things, but that's not the way it has to be at all. First of all, tracking doesn't have to be forever, but it is an extremely useful tool for educating yourself around what you're consuming and to help you move towards your goals. So tracking your food is going to help you realize, how much protein do I actually consume? Am I getting enough fiber? So I always recommend, if you're new and you want to start tracking, to start tracking as you currently eat. See how you go. And just note it, go into the nutritional information, and after you've tracked everything, and look and be like, oh God, my protein levels are quite low. Really not getting enough fiber here. It'll give you all the information on your macronutrients, your micronutrients. I will say, please be careful when you're tracking to make sure you're not tracking too low calories, we can consume a hell of a lot more calories than you think we can consume when we're tracking. Because people think, how am I supposed to lose weight on these high calories? When really, if you're tracking 7 days a week, there's no point in tracking really restrictive calories Monday to Thursday and then just not tracking at the weekend. Dieting and trying to diet feels the same and are just as exhausting as each other. So just do it right. Keep your calories high. You can bring them down slowly over time. Use my calorie calculator. If you go onto my website, you'll get the calorie calculators on my website, katehamiltonhealth.com. Or if you just go onto any of my social medias, the link in bio, you'll be able to access my free calorie calculator. It will give you a decent amount of calories to start on with tracking, and then use my FitnessPal or NutriCheck. Like I said, it doesn't have to be forever, but just because you're eating healthy food doesn't mean you're going to lose weight, because at the end of the day, it does come down to calories in versus calories out. There are other methods that I do talk about, like the hand portion method as well, which you can also use, which is another podcast episode. I won't get into it now. Step number 5 on the curriculum is planning ahead. I've already talked a bit about this. This is plan your meals a few days ahead and track your calories the night before. This is another non-negotiable. Make it part of your evening routine and pair it with your daily reflection. So, when I said that daily reflection, pen to paper, what am I doing? Or what was my day like? How did it go? Take out your phone after that and track your calories for the day ahead. It doesn't mean you have to stick to it 100%, but it means that you're going into the next day then with a plan, you're organized. And if something out of the ordinary comes up, you will be able to make an informed decision. So I always use the example of if you're in work and someone brings in a box of donuts, you're like, oh, donuts. It could be just impulsively straight away, you've grabbed a donut, you've eaten it, and then you're like, fuck. And then you look it up, you're like, 400 calories. I'm not having dinner tonight now. Or I'm going to end up over my calories. Or else the other way that would play out would be like, oh, I'm on a diet, I can't have a donut. And then you feel really, really deprived, and then you end up binging later. So there's both of those situations. Whereas if you've actually tracked your calories ahead of time and then that donut comes, and you're like, oh, okay, donut. And you look up my FitnessPal, how many calories in a donut? I'm saying 400. I don't know if there's 400. That's off the top of my head. If I was to guess, I don't know. But if you were to look it up, you can now say, right, well, I could have that donut. I might need to have a little bit less rice, maybe put some cauliflower rice in with the rice to lower the rice in dinner. Or, I had planned to have 2 little chocolate bars with my tea later, but I'd have to skip that to have this donut now. And then you might be like, yeah, I really want the donut. I'm going to do that. Or else you'd be like, do you know what? No. I'll wait and I'll have my chocolate later. But you've made the decision. It's so important. Tracking as you go along throughout the day is just expecting things to just randomly. It's like expecting to win the lottery. It's like, instead, just have a structured plan in place, and then you're more likely to achieve it. And also when it comes to trying to eat enough protein and get enough healthy fats in it, and to actually look at your macronutrients, that takes forward planning. And that gets easier as well, because you'll find breakfasts and lunches and snacks that you enjoy, and you probably have the same few on rotate. So it definitely gets easier. When it comes to planning your meals ahead, like I said, pick a day in the week or the weekend and I always look a week ahead, but it depends on your own routine, a few days ahead. So you have the right ingredients in for dinner. It takes away that decision fatigue. What are we having for dinner? So we've got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It's like we've got bolognese, we've got curry, we've got enchiladas. There's 3 dinners. Doesn't matter which day you have which, but they're the ingredients that are in the house, and that's what's happening. Instead of you being like, oh no, but I really fancy it. It's like, no, this is what's here. And what's great about that is if you actually go and grocery shop and then cook the meals that you had planned, there's no waste. And it's I don't know whether it's just me, I'm sure some of you would be the same, but it's such a satisfying feeling at the end of the week when I'm like, yes, there's nothing left in the fridge. I haven't wasted any money. I haven't wasted any food. Everyone's fed and nourished. And I'm like, yeah, it's like those vegetables haven't gone anywhere. They're gone into us. It's like they're gone into the kids, which is great. Plan ahead is huge. Okay. Step number 7 of the Kate Hamilton Health Curriculum is daily movement. Walk, run, dance, cycle, swim, whatever you enjoy. I don't care. Not that I don't care. I don't mind. Just make sure you move your body every day. Your body needs to be moved in some way every day, even if you can only squeeze in 5 minutes. We are like dogs. Your dog needs to be walked every day, and you need to be moved every day. Now, rest days are important for, intense exercise. If you're doing HIIT workouts, or running requires rest days, football training requires rest days, strength training requires rest days. You do not need a rest day from walking. Even if your muscles are sore from the workout you did yesterday, you even more need the walk. Walking's going to help, okay? So daily movement, make it a non-negotiable. It's not about having to hit 10,000 steps a day. It's not about having to walk 10 kilometers or whatever you're walking or running or whatever every day. It's literally be someone who moves their body every day. Be someone who walks every day. And number 8, sleep. At least 7 hours each night, give or take. The older we get, the less sleep we need. You'll know how many hours, like if you think about a weekend that doesn't involve alcohol, and how many hours you sleep naturally by waking naturally without being woken by an alarm, you'll know how much sleep you need. And most of us at this stage do know this. For me, it's about 7 hours. Getting adequate sleep is essential for fat loss, strength, fitness, and health goals. It's how your body heals. It's also so important for you to be able to enjoy the process, and to be able to think clearly and make rational decisions as well. If quantity of sleep is out of your control, focus on quality and establish a healthy sleep routine. So, screens out of the bed. By putting the evening routine in of doing the daily reflection and all of that stuff will help with that. But it is really about setting a really healthy sleep routine. Keep your phone out of your bed. Like, there's no reason to be on social media when you're in bed in your safe space. And there's no reason for first thing in the morning for you to pick up your phone and go straight onto social media. Put those boundaries in place and give yourself that little bit of time to you. And it's going to make your sleep routine so much healthier. And I guarantee you, if you get into bed and start reading a book, you're going to fall asleep. I would argue half an hour to an hour earlier than if you're scrolling, because we all know about the blue light and how it keeps our brain awake. I'll do an episode on this another time. I've probably done it before. Again, I talk so much I forget. I'm not going to go into the science of this. We know this. So just, be strict to yourself. Think about your kids. Think about the rules you put in place for them and have similar ones for you. Like, you deserve it too. So that's basically in relation to sleep. Step 9, hydration. At least 2 liters of water every day. Okay, so this is so important, obviously, for hydration, but it's also extremely important for digestion and for feeling fuller for longer. Quite often when we think we're hungry, we're actually thirsty. So it's really, really important. Now, that doesn't mean drink 2 liters in one go. It means spread it out throughout the day. Like, what I would do with water is I would have a pint of water first thing in the morning. When I get up early, I have that time to myself when I'm working before I have my 7 a.m. coffee. I will make sure a pint of water has been drank at that stage. That's a good start to the day. Then I'll take a litre bottle with me when I'm out and about, get that drank. So that's 1.5 litres then in total. And then I'll have another pint of water in the afternoon/evening time when I'm at my desk. And then I'd usually drink water. I'd usually have a little bit more than 2 litres. I probably have about 2.5 to 3 litres, because then, the water that I drink with my meals and stuff as well, which is usually fizzy water. So, fizzy water counts, green teas count, fruit teas count. You can infuse your water. Technically, diluted drinks don't count towards your water intake. However, I'm not saying you can't drink diet drinks or you can't drink diluted drinks. I'm just saying that they don't really count towards your water intake. So, I love a Coke Zero as much as the next gal, but that's separate to my 2 liters of water. So that's like a nice little fizzy treat to have with my dinner every now and again. So just keep that in mind. Rather than giving up fizzy drinks, I'd be like, prioritize water, and you'll kind of crowd out the fizzy drinks a little bit. But if you're someone who struggles so badly to get water into you, I would say commit to getting 1 pint of water in a day to start, and then the rest of your water, drop a little bit of my waddy in. But try and train yourself to drink a little bit of plain water as well. It gets easier with time. You'll develop a habit for it. But I'd rather you drink some diluted my waddy in your water than you to be dehydrated. Okay, so just get that balance right. Step number 10, macronutrient balance. So this is 3 meals a day, eating protein, carbohydrates, and fats in each of these meals. So this is, again, I was talking about this in relation to food quality, but really this is where we start actually trying to work towards a protein goal, making sure that we're getting enough healthy fats. There's no point in starting your journey with macronutrient balance. We have to get all the other things in place. Then we'll start focusing on this. So especially when you initially start tracking, or you start eating more healthy whole foods and you start tracking, it's more just about noticing where you fall with all of these. And then eventually you're going to be bringing in, right, now let's start pushing the protein up a little bit. How can I have a little bit more healthy fats? That kind of stuff. Usually carbs are never usually that much of an issue. We're usually getting enough naturally enough, and it's a case of just bringing up the other 2 a little bit. And step number 11, which I've put last, which doesn't necessarily have to go last and is an extremely important part of the puzzle. 11 is actually my favorite number. It's my lucky number. So I feel like this is why it's number 11 as well. Resistance training. Resistance training is so important. You can do it at home. You can do it in the gym. I would say aim for at least 2 workouts per week. This can start off as 1 workout per week, and you can build it up over time, but it is essential for metabolic health and for long-term sustainable progress when it comes to fat loss. Okay. So quite often people think, oh, well, I just want to lose weight. Why do I need to lift weights? If anything, weight's not going to make it harder to lose weight. As we get older, we're losing muscle mass by the year, by the decade anyway. A decent percentage. I really need to learn that number off by heart. A scary percentage of muscle mass we're losing every decade after the age of 30. But this can be counteracted by doing a little bit of resistance training. Now, you can work with coaches like myself. There's so many online coaches now that will put together a gym or a home workout program for you. There are loads of personal trainers in the gym. There's loads of strength classes in gyms. There's loads of different types of strength training that can be done. But resistance training is with dumbbells or other types of weights where you're giving resistance to your muscles in a repetitive nature. So it's usually, using sets and reps, and it's not about jumping around the place and getting absolutely in bits. It's about slow and controlled moving through your muscles, time under tension, feeling the burn, and letting your muscles get stronger. Over time, what's going to happen is you're going to build muscle on your frame. This does not mean you're going to get bigger. If anything, you're going to get a little teeny tinier, and you're going to look really tight. You're going to get that tight toned look that you were looking for. The magic thing is over time, you will actually be able to maintain your body weight or lose weight more effectively. And then when you get to your goal, maintain it on a decent amount of calories. Because otherwise, if you're not resistance training, the science is as you start to get smaller and smaller, you lose body fat and you start getting smaller and smaller. The amount of calories that you need to get smaller and smaller is going to get smaller and smaller. So you're going to have to eat less and less and less. And then when you finally get to where you want to go, if you want to stay there, you're going to have to keep eating that little amount of food, unless you're resistance training. So, like, for perspective, I'm a 38-year-old, as I'm recording this, I'll be 39 in a couple of months. I'm a 38-year-old woman who is 5'6", and I weigh about 140 pounds or 60 something kilos. What's that? 64 kilos. So that's my height, weight, age. I can maintain my body weight on about 2,600 calories, which is a massive amount of food, really. Whenever I want to drop a bit of body fat, should I get a little leaner for holidays or whatever? I'm kind of doing that at the minute. I'm currently on a weekly average of about 2,000 calories. I can lose body fat on 2,000 calories. I could lose body fat much slower on higher. Like, I could go 2,200 calories and lose body fat. It'd be a bit more slow and steady. But because I have such a great maintenance level, if I want to drop body fat a little bit quicker, I can do that by dropping down to 2,000, 1,900, 2,000, drop it effectively, quickly, and then bring them back up gradually because I'm lifting weights regularly. And that's really all it is. I'm not doing anything mad compared to anyone else. It is just consistent over time, and I've just built muscle on my frame, and my frame is a hell of a lot smaller than it ever was. So I can promise you that lifting weights doesn't make you bulky. But they're the 11 steps, okay? So they are simple habits. Now, that might seem a little bit overwhelming, but those are the 11 steps that I work with clients through. And this takes time. Like, making sustainable fat loss change or lifestyle change, it takes time. Like, it takes 6 months depending on the person, 6 months to a year to 2 years to 3 years. Like, you need to take away the time limit from yourself. These habits are for life. This is a rest of your life. So there is absolutely no rush with this. It's really important that you do this in a step-by-step approach that's personalized to you. It's not about perfection, and it is about the long haul. So when you're going through particularly stressful times, it's really important to zoom out and look at the bigger picture. These habits take time, and you never need to be nailing all of them all at the same time. But over time, what happens is most of them will become second nature to you, and then you'll never fall off the wagon again. Because there is no wagon. It's your lifestyle. When life gets busy, you hold tight on what feels manageable. When things are nice and settled and feeling easy, then you can push forward. And that's what it's about. And it never needs to be all or nothing again. So what's really, really important with implementing this is being consistent. And as I said, being consistent is not about being perfect. It's consistently picking yourself up and learning from yourself. Being consistent leads to getting results. Getting results leads to gathering evidence. Gathering evidence leads to building confidence, and building confidence leads to being consistent. And that cycle keeps going again. And that's how you build momentum and start making progress. Yeah, there is all I have to say today. I hope that helps. Just remember that ups and downs will happen. Life is not perfect. I don't know why we expect our health and fitness journeys to be perfect. Life has ups and downs. Your health and fitness journey will have ups and downs. Just hold tight with what you can manage during difficult times. And as times get easier, push forward again. And with this coaching curriculum, you have everything you need. There is nothing else to it. It's just about consistency, connecting with yourself and finding it in a way that works for you. And once you actually step into this coaching curriculum and this healthy lifestyle continuum, you're free. Like, welcome to freedom. This takes you away from this dieting cycle, this yo-yo dieting cycle for the rest of your life. It will change everything for you. So best of luck with implementing this. I hope you found it helpful. And if you would like a little bit more help and support with your journey, you can apply for coaching. If you go to my website, katehamiltonhealth.com, you will see the 2 different coaching options that I offer: elite coaching and group coaching. Elite coaching is by application only. The group coaching we do by intake. So the next intake, as I'm recording this, will start on the 28th of April. You can get signed up now to book your spot. If you're listening to this later in time, the group coaching intakes happen every 8 weeks. So if you go to my website, you'll see the date of the next intake. And best of luck, everyone. And thank you for listening. And I will talk to you all again soon. I just want to say thank you so much for listening to the podcast. It really means so much to me that there are people out there actually listening to what I have to say. So thank you so much. If you are enjoying the podcast, could you please make sure that you are subscribed? And if not, if you could hit that subscribe button, it really does make that much of a difference. Also, if you would like to leave a review on any of the episodes that you listen to that you particularly enjoy, I would love to hear what you have to say. And also, if there's an episode that you've enjoyed, please do share it on your social media, in your WhatsApp groups, with your friends. If you're sharing it on your stories, please tag myself in it. This would be greatly appreciated. Also, if you're interested in working with me and my wonderful team, please do contact me about applying for coaching. So you can contact me at katehamiltonhealth@gmail.com or on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all Kate Hamilton Health. And you will be able to apply for coaching. We can organise to have a chat and see if it's a good fit for you and get you moving towards your goals.